One of the more misunderstood components of reading is fluency. If you've heard your child's teacher say, your child needs to work on fluency, that can be a really touchy thing because there's a lot of different parts that go into fluency. One part of fluency is the number of words that your child can read per minute. That's technically called rate, but it's part of fluency. How quickly do you read? Because we have an expectation that students are going to read at a reasonable rate. Now, reasonable rate does not mean as fast as you humanly can. We don't want kids to sound like auctioneers, but we also can't have this as a regular reading rate. Part of fluency is how quickly do you read? Another part of fluency is, do you allow your voice to help tell the story? Do you get louder and softer? Do you make your voice bigger and smaller? Do you speed up and do you slow down when it's appropriate in the story? Do you stop at periods? Do you pause at commas? All of those things that make reading sound like an art form, that's what we're looking for in fluency. The last piece that we're looking for in fluency is adjusting your reading rate according to the material. If you're reading a super easy story just for fun, chances are good you can read pretty quickly. But if you're reading something that's more nonfiction based, a science book or social studies material or a new concept in math, and you're doing some actual reading work about it, knowing to slow down and to read that part more thoroughly and focused in on it instead of reading it at the same rate that you would read a novel, that is part of fluency. So you can understand why it is that when a teacher refers to fluency, there's a lot of different stuff that could go on there. At the elementary level, most of the time when teachers are talking about fluency, they're talking about, does the child sound like a storyteller would sound? If the answer to that is no, if they're not phrasing words together correctly, then they're not understanding that story very well. For instance, if you're thinking about dialogue and the story is going back and forth and it starts off, Mom said, go to the store. I don't want to, said Dad. But I need milk, said Mom. Oh, said Joe, I'll go for you. If they understand how those conversation bits go in, they can get the phrasing correct with that. But if they don't understand how it's all working together, they're going to get the said parts matched up with the wrong words, and then it's going to get all tangled up in their head. There are three main ways that we can address that at home pretty easily. That's going to be the next 3 videos that we talk about, but I needed for you to understand what it is that fluency is and what it is not so that we can actually address those, because being able to read fluently is going to help with the comprehension of the story. It doesn't count for anything if you read the words that are there, but you cannot tell me what you've read. So fluency is going to help you do that.